I'm Robin Torres, your host. Our guest today is Shelley Coulter of the Kansas City, Kansas School Foundation for Excellence. The Kansas City, Kansas Foundation for Excellence was established in 1990 with an annual scholarship golf tournament. The foundation was formed to provide 12 $3,000 scholarships for students in the Kansas City, Kansas Public School District. Today, the nonprofit organization continues to grow beyond the annual golf tournament with various special events throughout the school year. We welcome Shelley Coulter. Thank you for being with us.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
Well, tell us about what you do with the foundation, your title, and how you got your start with the foundation.
Okay, my name again is Shelley Coulter. I'm the executive director for the Kansas City, Kansas School Foundation for Excellence, and I began my journey with the district in 2008 as a marketing specialist. At that time, my predecessor, Crystal Watson, was actually in the community piece, and I actually did the actual marketing. And so to begin my journey, I had to go inside the classrooms to see what I was actually marketing for the school district.
And you saw students, of course.
Of course, the students were my marketing, my product.
Okay.
And we had to see what the need was in order to grow the foundation. The foundation at the time, yes, we did begin in 1990. That's when it was created. But we only started out with 3 scholarships, and they were $500 apiece. And so in 2008 is when we actually had the walls put up. And we were thinking, you know what, we need to go a little further and create 12 $3,000 scholarships. So that's how we actually started with the 12 $3,000 scholarships for our students. We started with the annual golf tournament, which was very successful in raising the money to provide for those students, but we thought we need to do more. So the foundation, now we support 3 of the initiatives for the school district. That is Teaching for Learning grants, scholarships #1, and also resources for students inside and outside of the classroom.
Okay, so how are students eligible to receive the scholarships that you have?
Well, we have online where they can go into their counselor's office, or they can apply online for the actual application. The eligibility is a little more lenient than a student that has like a 4.0. Ours start at where they can be eligible for the scholarship at a 2.5, because we want to make sure that every student will be able to apply for a scholarship.
Okay, and selection process on how you let the students know that they received it or not?
We actually have with our committee, we have a scholarship committee that's through our volunteer services with the school, with the foundation. And so once they fill out the form, the deadline's mostly in April of every year, the committee will come together and go through the guidelines and select our actual awarded scholarship recipients.
Okay, thank you. Now about your other initiatives, the resources for the teachers.
Okay, Teaching for Learning grants is where our internal staff can apply for a grant, a $1,000 grant, to actually help them in the classroom above and beyond the curriculum or the money they already have provided for them. Say, for instance, if they wanted to do a Go Green project, they will be able to apply for one of our grants. If we have the music department wants to go on a trip, then they can apply for a grant. And then with that, again, we have a committee that will actually make the selection to see who will be awarded. Each year in the fall, we have 5 teachers that will be awarded, and then in the spring, we have 5. So that's a total of $10,000 we give away, the foundation does each year.
Wow. From year to year, you, I'm sure, set goals. And like this year, do you feel like you are meeting or exceeding that goal? And then what are your goals for next year?
But each year, yes, I do set goals because we want to elevate, we want to sustain the foundation. And that is something from 1990 up until now. We're almost 21 years old. And in order to make it something that the students can say, you know, the foundation did help us, we want to have like an alumni legacy. So with right now what I'm trying to do is connect with our community and our former students, our alumni, to actually build this legacy. So one day when there's not a Shelley Coulter, that someone else can walk in and know that the walls are already up and it's already sustained.
Okay. You've had lots of past events. Give us a little taste of what you've already had before I ask what's coming up.
Well, in 2008, again, when I first was hired, I was the marketing specialist. And what I found out is that our children, not that they were not exposed, but we needed to be more global and regional. So I asked them about debate, and we decided to have what is called the Great Debate. And I called Denzel Washington, which a lot of people said that you just called him up. Well, I knew an associate that knew him, so I called and asked, can he be a part of our event, because it was based off the movie The Great Debate.
You talked to Denzel?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Yes.
I had to stop and ask you that. Okay.
Well, he was not available, but his wife Pauletta promised that she would come for an event for me. So what we did, we actually got a hold of Nate Parker, who was Henry Lowe in the movie, and we actually got a hold of Kenneth Tolson, who is the grandson of the original great debater Melvin B. Tolson, and also his son, Melvin Tolson, who at that time was 82. So we called all the communities. It took about 3 weeks to plan an event that would have taken maybe about 6 months. And we had over 500 students and districts, students from 8 different districts that came to that event. It was raining, but it was a wonderful, wonderful event that actually let our children show their voices and actually understand what debate really was. It's
what
not
kind
about
of feedback did you receive from the students?
A lot of the teachers and parents and students was like, when are we going to have another one? You know, because we didn't, if you could not afford to come, we told them to come anyway. And a lot of them were like, when are we going to have it again? And they learned that their voice was of value. So with debate, you think of arguing, but we actually presented it as, no, it's a way of communicating.
Wow. Any other events that you find memorable? I know you've had a couple of fashion shows
Yes.
with a very famous, I think, designer.
Yes, Natalie Nierenbergen is a 1955 alumni from Wyandotte High School. She was one of our Reasons to Believe 2008 recipients. And no, 2009, I do apologize. But she wanted to give back to her community. And so she owns a boutique called Natalie M's in Kansas City, Kansas, off of 126 in Metcalf. And she said, Shelley, I have good relations with Tony Bowles. Well, Tony Bowles is a designer for Miss USA and all the pageants. And his Vanna White wears all of his gowns. And so she was like, I want to have it here at Wyandotte High School. Well, that was in July, and she wanted the event for September. So we were like, well, we can't have it in September. She said, well, what about November? That's when Tony will be here. Well, we recruited 100 of our students, because Tony had 100 dresses that he wanted them to wear. And we recruited 100 of our students from our 5 high schools. And it was a fabulous, just grand event. Most of our girls had never had on a $300 and up dress. And all the dresses were ranging from $300 to $1,000. And they had their day of just elegance. We had our stage. The guy who came in and did our stage did the Miss USA stage. All of this didn't cost the foundation anything. And at that time, it actually gave our students, our young ladies and our young men, they actually felt like that self-esteem, that anything was possible. And that was the goal for it. And Natalie M. is still very positioned with the foundation.
I was at that fashion show, actually what modeled one of the dresses. And I was backstage, and I remember the girls. I mean, like you said, some of them had never had on a 300 and up dress. And the pride that was instilled in them. And I remember just the glow they were just glowing back there.
Yes.
I thought that was such an opportunity, and I wasn't able to see any of the men backstage, of course. I know Will Shields was there.
Yes.
But I remember that day, and I remember how they felt. And it was wonderful, and I thought, you know, if they ever got a chance to do that again, I mean, they'll never forget that moment that the foundation was actually able to hold that event at Wanda High School.
Yes.
That was great.
Well, you know, Tony Bowles, after the show, was so overwhelmed by the outcome that the January of the following year, January the 10th, January 9th, 2010, we had a fashion show that he invited the girls to participate in, and also he wanted me to be a part of a reality show. So Tony Bowles has a reality show that will be airing that has the foundation executive director in it as one of his people of choice to wear his dress.
Okay. Well, I have a lot of other things to ask you about the foundation, but we're going to take a quick break and we're going to look at our segment today on Everyday People. We'll be right back.
A lot of people probably don't know this, but I was fortunate enough to be a part of the Apollo 11 and 12 pickup team, which probably a lot of people don't even remember now, but it was our first experience on walking on the moon. I got to actually physically be next to the astronauts when they returned. It was a situation that we practiced for several months. We had a mock capsule that we would release into the ocean and chase it down, which looked relatively simple until we tried to do it, and it was a real challenge. I don't know if you remember the size of the capsule, but there was 3 individuals in that capsule. And when that thing hit the water, they came out of there pretty fast. And that's probably one of the more unique things.
Welcome back to Conversations, and we're still here with Shelley Coulter for the Kansas City, Kansas Foundation for Excellence. And my next question, Shelley, is about one of your case studies, and I believe it was called, what's that, Heart of an Athlete?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Actually, the Heart of an Athlete began with my own child. My son was a football player at one of our local high schools, and he had a 3.2 grade point average. He played football. Ron Prince actually was recruiting here for K-State. We've went on several games, unofficial games, invites to go see and check out the campus. And he was accepted at K-State for the civil engineering program. It was January 2008 that we found out that my son's GPA did not match his core classes for the NCAA eligibility in order to play for a four-year college, Division I college, I do apologize, or Division II. And so I started researching, and I'm thinking, well, should we have known this information? Well, the counselors and the coaches had actually advised all the student athletes of the criterias, but it wasn't something that the students took seriously. So my son took the ACT and could not reach the 21 that he needed to match his GPA for the core classes. So we studied for the SAT, which is not something that's studied in the Wyandotte County, Kansas Public School District, and he actually got a 1600. And all he needed was a 940 for the eligibility to go on and accept this scholarship. At the end, he was not eligible because we were not advised of the updated NCAA eligibility guidelines. So to make a long story short, my son had to go to Butler Community College, which education, he's a student first and an athlete second. But if he did not have a firm foundation at home, he would not have been able, he probably would not have went off to school. So that was a vision. That was before I was hired as a marketing specialist for the Kansas Public, the foundation. Okay. And so I decided that we needed to have the parents more involved. We need to educate the parents. And I thought of a Heart of an Athlete. The Heart of an Athlete is actually the heart of an athlete, because if you have a student that has a talent and he is an athlete, that's all they think about. They don't think about that I have to make the grade in order to proceed with this talent, to utilize it to the next step. And I called a couple of friends of mine, and I called Bill Self up at KU, and I told him what I wanted to do. I called Jeremy McCool, who is the director of the actual NCAA in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Told him what I wanted to do. David Stevens, who is in Dallas, Texas, at Prime Time. He does primetime sports for AAU. He travels all over. He was like on it. I called Will Shields, who is a Hall of Famer, ex-Chief player. He was wanting to be wanted to be a part of it as well. And what we thought about is that we would go into the schools and set up a platform. We would get with College Coaches Network. They actually came and talked about the eligibility, educated the parents. Well, the hardest part was getting the parents to understand the importance of them coming. And we had to talk with the principals. Well, Mr. Bolden, who was the principal of F.L. Schlegel, decided that he was going to make it mandatory, that all of his athletic directors, every student that wanted to be an athlete or any type of sport, music, he had them come to this platform.
Wow.
And it turned out 600 people came to the actual event to educate them. Now, we were going to have a finale in the next year in April, whereas Jeremy McCool was coming, Bill Self came, David Stevens, Will Shields, to whereas Bill Self wanted to show them that it's not all about being an athlete. You have to be a student first. You have to be smart.
Right.
So that's how the actual case study started.
Where was this held?
We held the actual events, the individual events, at each individual high school.
Okay.
So that was at Sumner had it Day, Wyandotte, Washington, and Schlegel, and Harmon.
Did all of the principals make it mandatory?
No,
for
they
the
did
parents?
not. The only one that made it mandatory for the parents was Mr. Bolden. But after he did, it actually showed that, yes, this is what we need to do. And that's when the other athletic directors were like, when can we schedule it for our parents to come in as well? Because sometimes it's not that they did not believe it was happening. They had actually enforced it with their students. But the parents appreciated it because we involved them. And so in April when we had it, when Bill Self came, we had a turnout. It was all the high school parents, even middle school parents came and they were thanking us, saying, we never knew this is what we needed to do.
Well, so many parents of athletes, and I'm one, get so involved with the sport itself.
Yes.
And, like you said, the heart of an athlete, they're thinking, I want to move on, I want to elevate to the next level, I want to go to college to do whatever, but they don't think about their GPA, their grades, and all that gets affected. So I congratulate you on that, and I'm sure that Bill Self was a great speaker. I've never met him, but can you tell me what the students felt about his presence at the event?
They felt honored. They felt like this man is coming to talk to us, who actually is winning national championships. He has phenomenal presence with our students and with the community. I mean, Mr. Self is actually personally a wonderful individual. Him and his wife, Cindy, they want to make sure that they give back all the time. They're very humble people. Matter of fact, we were the first district that he wanted to give 4 $10,000 scholarships to.
Wow.
And he endowed with the foundation to make sure we can maintain those scholarships. He is very involved in wanting to make sure that the Kansas City, Kansas Public School District student athletes do make it to the next level post-secondary. If it's community college, he will connect them. If it's D1, D2, whatever they're wanting to do, he will make sure that he puts in their pathway someone who can elevate them.
Okay. Is there a part 2 coming up with the Heart of an Athlete?
Part 2 of Heart of an Athlete, actually people have asked from other states for us to travel to come and present to them, and we still have not found time to be able to put us all together to do that.
Wow. Any upcoming events that you've got planned? I know this is, you know, the beginning of the year already, January, but do you have anything coming up through May?
Yes, we at this time we planned for our Women's Leadership Luncheon, and it's always in the month of March because March is Women's Month. This year we will have Jenna Bush. Is Jenna Bush Hager, but she is President Bush's daughter. But she's an author and an educator. So she's coming to speak at our Women's Leadership Luncheon, which will be March 24th, and it's going to be at the Jack Reardon Convention Center from 11 o'clock a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay. Was it hard to secure her appearance, or?
Actually, it was not. Okay. Jenna is with the Washington's Speakers Bureau. And I wanted to just kind of set the tone to let our students know that everyone that they desire to be in the presence of is still another human being, and that they can call them up just like we can. It might take a little, more, right. But they're attainable. They can actually reach out, and they will be able to have that opportunity to speak to them, or talk to them, or be in the presence of them. Yeah.
Do we know her topic yet, or do you know what she's going to speak about?
It's going to be Inspire, Sowing the Seed. What we want to do is we all have to sow a seed into, first of all, ourselves. And someone sowed a seed into us. First, we were educators as parents. First, sometimes we are the teacher that is the only positive person in a student's life. So sowing a seed to actually give that child some sort of foundation is what her topic is going to be about.
Okay. You have inspired young women who have been in your presence and, of course, followed you along with the fashion show and the other events you've had, and they've gravitated to you quite a bit. Yes. And you have with them as well. So that's really good. And I'm sure the students will be in attendance at the luncheon?
Yes, we have 45 young ladies that are going to actually be at each table. We're anticipating over 500 people to come, but they're called the Ladies of Destiny, and these young ladies have sacrificed after school to come together because they want to be positive, polished, successful young women. And so what we're doing now is we're actually positioning them. So they'll be able to carry on a conversation. They'll be able to talk about any topic that anyone at that table they'll be able to engage.
Wow. Very proud of our Kansas City, Kansas students.
Yes.
Anything else coming up?
We're going to have what is called Telefund. We're going to incorporate some of our seniors from our high schools. Bill Self, he has a Assist Foundation, Bill Self Assist Foundation. We're all going to come together. We're going to hold it in Lawrence, but it's going to be for the Kansas City, Kansas School Foundation for Excellence and the Bill Self Assist Foundation. And we're going to call alumni, we're going to call residents. We're going to have, our students are going to have little time frames where they're going to take time out. And they're going to call and introduce themselves and tell them what they're calling for. And it's going to be just a little short conversation, but in order to educate our community on how we all need to come together. We've had budget cuts, and we don't want that to affect our education.
I was going to ask you about the budget cuts and how that affects the children. I mean, not indirectly, but directly. I mean, are they even aware of how that affects the education that they're receiving, do you think?
Well, a lot of our children we're trying to educate, but that is the public school district who is educating. The foundation is more or less supporting their initiatives.
Right.
And so what we do is they're striving, and what we're doing is supporting.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both together as partners. We're wanting to make sure that they are educated. That's something we don't want them to worry about.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we're providing all the resources that are needed, to whereas they will always have the quality of education that they're needing.
Good. Now that sounds good. So you're going to have a bus load going to Lawrence and actually putting on this event?
What we're trying to do, we're in the planning stage, but it was just something that we wanted to collaborate to show that it's not just about the Kansas Public School District's Educational Foundation. It's not about the Lawrence Educational Foundation. It's about the foundations coming together to be in support of our students.
Okay. All right. So when do you start planning for the next school year?
Actually, after each event. And we also have our scholarship annual golf tournament that's going to be at Sunflower Golf Course,
okay,
June the 8th. We always have it the first Wednesday or the second Wednesday of June, and we're going to have it the second Wednesday of June this year.
Okay.
I start planning after each event for the next year.
Okay.
So
that sounds great. Tell us about any volunteer opportunities that may be available for those who would like to contact you and volunteer.
We do. We have an auxiliary volunteer group, and we have a director. She's a volunteer too. Her name is Marsha Oyer. You can actually visit us at our website at www.kckssandsamffe.org,
okay,
and go to our programs, and there's a form you can fill out to become a volunteer. We need volunteers at all times. In the foundation, we only have one staff, and that's me. So I do the administrative, I do the marketing. So I'm always looking for someone to bring in that gift that they have, or that tool that I'm needing, or that direction to actually assist, so we can actually make sure that we can continue to be successful.
Do you get lots of volunteers? I mean, other than Marsha Oyer and...
We have about 20 volunteers that have come through on every event that we can that the foundation is actually hosting, or if I'll call and say, you know, we need help with this, they always come through, always.
I've been to a couple of events, and I just want to say you do an awesome job at putting on whatever. I mean, the professionalism and the tidiness of everything. I mean, you've done a fabulous job, and I want to congratulate you. And one final thing before we go, I wanted to let everybody know that we did not plan to wear the same color today. Great minds. Right, this was just an accident, but it was a wonderful accident, and we were both shocked to see each other. So I want to thank you, Shelley, for being part of the show today and sharing the information about the foundation. And if anyone would like to contact you about the foundation, would you like to give them your information and or your website?
Yes. You can reach me again at www.kckssandsamffe.org, or you can call me at area code 913-279-2091.
Well, thank you so much for being with us, Shelley.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on Conversations, and we'll see you next time. Mm-hmm.